X to the fourth plus 12x squared equals 6x cubed. First thing we need to do is what? Not distribute, but bring this over, and it's going to go in the middle of those other two terms as a minus, right? So I have 3x to the fourth minus 6x cubed plus 12x squared equals 0. What? When you bring something over, a change of signs? Yeah, we want it in order 4, 3, 2, right? So the second thing I would do is graph it. If it crosses 4 times, just write down all 4 solutions and you're done, okay? Now this is our, because imaginaries come in pairs, this could be all 4 imaginary. It could be 2 imaginary, 2 real, or they could all be real, okay? So let's see what it looks like. Three x to the fourth minus 6x cubed plus 12x squared. Yeah, it's going to be up and up because all evens either up, right? Now keep in mind that I zoomed out earlier. So if I wanted to see this between negative 10 and 10, I would do zoom standard. Looks like it crosses at 0. And then part of me thinks, you know what? It's 0 and then 3 imaginary. But you can't have imaginary. And then 1 imaginary? You're saying x equals 0 multiplicity of 4? That could be the case. I wouldn't bet on it, yeah? Well, you can have imaginary. You can. What I'm saying is because 0 is a solution once, it has to have multiplicity. Okay? Because you can't have 3 imaginary. So I'm thinking it's 0 multiplicity of 2 with 2 imaginary. Adrian thinks it's 0 multiplicity of 4, which are both good things to think. Okay? However, Adrian, if this was multiplicity of 4, then your problem would just be x to the fourth, or 6x to the fourth, or 3x to the fourth. Because we have 2 more terms, I can tell you that's not true. Okay? So it's going to be 2 real, so it's twice, and then 2 imaginary. Okay? So the first thing we're going to do is find a GCF. What's a GCF? 3. 3x squared. Leaves x squared minus 2x plus 4 equals 0. Look, that x squared, do you remember what that makes? Xx, right? And so you'd have x equals 0, x equals 0. So the answer is, for this part, x equals 0, multiplicity of 2, right? Now you may say, well, what happened to the 3? When you solve and it's 3x squared, the 3 does nothing to the 0. It could be 4xx, it could be 5xx. It'll still be 0, 0. Now this part right here is where the imaginary solutions are high. Well, if it factors, then that would tell me that it makes 2 real solutions. So we could try, what are 2 numbers that multiply to 4 but add to negative 2? So there is nothing, right? And so that almost always means that it's imaginary. So how can I can't factor it, so cross this off. It doesn't factor. So how can I get imaginary solutions? No. Is there a certain formula that will tell me solutions? Do you remember? Yeah, the quadratic formula. And so this part is review. Remember when we were doing this? Last week. Okay. So if you have a quadratic in standard form, you could plug A, B, and C in here. And all of our examples were imaginary, remember? Like you have to reduce what's in the square root and all that. So all that's review. So we're going to go through that part a little fast. So what is A? A is 1. B is -2. And C is 4. Remember, if there's one of these missing, then it's 0. And so you should have this formula down by heart, because you're going to need it for the ACT anyway. You need it for the ACT. They don't always give it to you. I have it memorized, not that long. Well, you should always do the ACT. It's more money, right? Even if you're a senior, you should take that ACT until you get a score you like. All right, negative B would be -2, which is yep. And then B squared, -2 squared makes what? +4. But that is a mistake I see a lot, because you're plugging in all of -2 into a square. And then -4. And then A is 1 and C is 4, right? Divided by 2 times A is 1, 2 times 1 is 2. Probably should put an equal sign in there. And then I get plus or minus 4 minus, let's see, that's 16. 4 minus 16 is -12. Now, many of you on your quiz, you left out a square root of -12. You forgot to take out the minus, make it a 9, and you forgot to break 12 up into factors looking for pairs, okay? Do square root of -12 real fast. So the negative comes out to make an I, right? And then you break 12 up. 12 breaks into what? 4 and 3. If you did 6 and 2, it'll come out to the same. And then 4 breaks into 2 and 2. So you have one pair. So 1, 2 comes out. The 3 stays inside. So you get 2i square root of 3. Yep, so we're going to replace this part with 2i square root of 3. Okay. Is that reduced? Is there a number that goes into 2, 2, and 2? 2. So I could divide all 3 of those by 2 and reduce it some more. 2 divided by 2 is 1. Yep. 2 divided by 2 is 1. You don't have to put an I. You can if you want. I mean, you don't have to put a 1. You do need the I, though. And then I was about to put divided by 1. But you don't need divide by 1, do you? Alright, so those are my two imaginary. 1 plus square root of 3 with an I. 1 minus I square root of 3. That makes 2 of my solutions. What were my other 2? 0 twice, right? So I probably should put somewhere on here, solutions are 0, multiplicity of 2, and at this point, if you just wrote 0 down twice, I'm happy. Okay, if multiplicity confuses you, that's fine. But I need to make sure I know that 0 happened twice. Okay, and then my 2 imaginary was 1 plus or minus I square root of 3. And I always box in my answer so the teacher could find it. Okay? So those are my 4 solutions. There's 2 here, 2 here, 2 plus 2 is 4. I'll have all 4 solutions.